Maybe that foot could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I have today. Time's gone by, I've traded black dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning, Robertson County. How you doing? This is 1100 WSGI. I'm Eugene Laverne, and this is One Street Over. And we're always here. We're gonna brave the bad weather, brave the bad roads, and the roads are fine. The roads are fine. I messaged Bill Jones this morning. I said, I had a 7 o'clock scheduled, and we decided to reschedule him until next week. And then Mandy Christenson from the White House Chamber is still coming in at 7:30. I'm just a mess. But anyway, and so Bill is my buddy. I rather than just listening to me prattle on by myself, I can always call Bill, and most of the time you're available, and I appreciate it.
Most of the time, I'm in walking distance.
Yes, exactly.
But I don't walk.
Exactly. But you said something to me. I said, well, because my test when the weather, I have an upstairs deck that's exposed, and so I can step out there. Yeah, and I walked out there, and I had ice on the couch that's out there, like I have an outdoor couch.
The road temperature this morning is
Right.
the thing. Now, up in Kentucky, they have sensors in the roads. We don't in Tennessee. But up there, the road temperature is like 45.
Oh, yeah.
And down here it is 31, 30.
Yeah.
Air temperature, and the road temperature is probably about the same. So it didn't melt on the road, but boy, when you go out to your car,
Yeah.
it's all over. It's hard to get off this morning.
Well,
quickly.
I put mine in. We have my husband is so organized, and we have this big, beautiful livestock barn. And he has this work area that's concreted in the very back that we had when we had a roofing company. And it is fabulous because we don't have a garage. And if we had a garage in the house, I would just fill it up full of crap. So I'm just,
That's what
I
I'm
just
doing.
say that. I should have said that.
doing.
But I would turn
Never
it into
park
a
the car in a
bonus
garage.
room. Yeah, I would never use a garage for my car. So, but he is so much more organized than me, and he will clear it out whenever we have ice coming, and we'll pull the car in so we don't have to clear it off.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any trouble at all this morning.
I got a tarp I put on mine, but I didn't
Yes.
this morning. I
Oh,
didn't
so
do it.
you had to scrape it
Oh,
off.
I was scraping like
bless.
crazy to get here on time.
Oh, bless. Well, thank you for coming in. And when I called Bill, he said, I don't know what we're going to talk about. And I said, I do, because Danny was in yesterday.
Yeah,
and
I watched that. That was
yes,
really good.
We had such
So fortunate to have him, I'll tell you.
I'm so excited about the play they're putting on at Innovation Academy, and I've got to pull up all the details on that, and I'll share that with you. But it's going to be just wonderful. And we're doing a thing at Greenbrier where we're focusing on Black History Month, and we've got 5 posters ready that one's Frederick Douglass, one's Joe Louis, one's Rebecca Davis Kumpler, who was the first African American female doctor. We did Whitworth Cheswell, and who else? We did Hiram Revel, who was the first African-American senator about the time of the Civil War. People don't realize that. And so we've got those 5 ready, and you hit the little QR code, and it takes you to a video that my students did. And so I told him, I said, the next one we're going to do is on Miss Lena. I want to tell her story immediately. So I've got a young girl, an African-American student, and I asked her yesterday, I said, would you do Miss Lena's story for me? And so she said, yeah. So I told her to come to school today ready to do it, to record. And, of course, we won't get to today, but we'll get that one done quickly because we need to tell that story. That's wonderful, but for sure. But now he was also one of my students who he does not know, but his friend Nancy knows. John Cohey he wants me to ask him about this book they've written, and it is about this coach that I don't know anything about.
Really?
But because I'm not from here, I'm from Kentucky, and so people back home, But I don't know anything about this coach. But he said that he coached you.
Yeah, he did.
So tell me about, who is this guy we're going to be getting this book about?
Coach Boy Smith.
Okay.
Of course, the field's named after him and up here. And anybody my age, everybody knew him. I lived just up the street from him for a while. He's lived at several different places. Coach Smith, to me, I can give you personal stories, but to me, he was so an unusual coach. He sort of used reverse psychology, I would call it. I don't know. But he would say, Jones, I don't know if you can do that or not. And, that just made me want to do it really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I saw what he did. He caused players to do better than they actually are. I don't know how you can do that. But they were better players than they normally would have been under another coach. And he didn't have to say a lot. He chewed on a cigar all the time and looked sort of mean. He looked down at you with these eyes he had that were real piercing. And it just made you want to do everything you could for him. Now, when I was in high school, he was the only coach. Now, later, he had people assist him. But the only coach we knew was Coach Smith. Now, Jimmy Suter was another coach of the smaller B team. He was around, but Coach Smith did the coaching, and what he did, he let us on the offensive team call the plays. The quarterback would call the plays. He didn't send plays in like you see him do all the time.
Oh, really?
We didn't have radios. We didn't have anything. He didn't send a player. Most teams you'd see somebody go in and out every play. Coach Smith didn't do that. He'd stand on there and chew on that cigar and stare at you. And so you had to call the plays. And I started doing a little too much one time. I played end. Offensive and we all played both sides better. You didn't have a break. Now nowadays it's different.
Yeah.
But back then everybody played 2 positions, defense and offense. And one time I had this brilliant idea I would go out wide, and next time I wouldn't. And he sent somebody in and says, "Tell Jones to stop that." I don't know what he's doing, but just stop it. So I stopped. But they would pull people out, to cover me, and they got them confused because they never had seen Springfield do anything like that. So anyway, we it was Coach Smith really wanted us to hit hard. I remember I played football in college also. And when I got to college, one guy says he was from Hillsboro, and we played Hillsboro. And he said, y'all had the dirtiest, ugliest uniforms. They were torn up and faded, and y'all lined up crooked. But when it said hike, you just knocked the crap out of it. I got so tickled. He says, how do y'all do that? I said, I don't know. We just, we had a bunch of old boys out in the country that had been cutting tobacco coming in, and they didn't get to practice on time in the summer because they had to cut tobacco, so we had hardly anybody to scrimmage with. And finally, the first game, these guys came in, and played, and they were hard and tough and, no fat on them at all. And it's
great.
There was one guy named Lawrence Thaxton, and I'm sure many people have heard of him. If I am not, I may not be correct, but I think he was Little All-American, high school Little All-American. But Lawrence was not a real big guy, but he was very muscular. and he could take care of 3 guys at one time. I've never seen anything like him. You could put him. We sometimes on a defensive line, we just had 3 people, Lawrence and 2 others, and Lawrence took care of center and both guards.
Oh, that's great!
And
I love it.
They got sort of afraid of him because Lawrence could hurt him. But Lawrence was, you didn't want to make him mad.
That's funny.
Lawrence was a good. Well, so many different good football players but in my time, I was glad I was on his side.
That's great.
He was something else. We had a guy named Billy Bo Pepper. He died in a car wreck back years ago, and he went to Air Force Academy and played football there. But Billy Bo was a back, and Billy Bo had an arm that his bones would break real easily for some reason in his forearms. So they put this big padding on his arms. Well, it still caused him problems, so he had this steel plate. Is that me talking?
I think that's you. Don't worry about it. You're fine.
He had this steel plate that he'd slide under that pad.
Oh.
And, of course, at the beginning of the game, we'd go out there and the referees would squeeze the pads on the arm. He didn't have the plate in there then. And he'd come back and slip that plate in there. And, of course, he'd run through there swinging that arm. And this guy asked me, he says, how did this guy that was a backview at Pepperboy, he like to broke somebody's face? I said, how did he do that? And I told him, I said he had a plate under there
to
keep his arm being broken, because he'd broken several times. But, I don't think Coach Smith knew it. We just got away and slipped that plate in there.
I love this. This is hysterical.
I remember one, Jimbo Pearson. Jerry Pearson I just saw him at a restaurant yesterday, and his brother Jimbo was younger than him. Jimbo, both of them excellent players, but Jimbo, I think it was at Portland or Gallatin or somewhere. We didn't have, it must have been Portland. It wasn't much of a dressing room. So Jimbo was sick. He had stomach virus, and he had diarrhea. Well, in one of the plays, it got pretty messy, so we had to go over to the side of the field in a huddle while we changed his pants.
Oh, my goodness.
So they came over there and said, one of y'all got to give up your pants for Jimbo. And I said, I'm not giving mine up. Finally, somebody did, and they took it over, had a circle all around him, and put pants on him. But he got back in the game, and Jimbo played the game with a broken arm.
Oh, my goodness.
But, Coach Smith didn't require us to do that. We just wanted to do it because we wanted to please him. And he made us feel so good about ourselves.
Oh.
I didn't do well in college because, well, it's 2 or 3 factors, I think. I got hurt right away, and I couldn't, my ankle broken, and I didn't get it fixed, and I was just limping all the time, couldn't do anything. And I remember I wrote a letter back to my father at home. I said, there's a guy across the line from me that looked like Hoss Cartwright. And I said, he's killing me because I can't get any traction in my leg. And I just didn't do well at all. But I noticed a lot of people that played for Coach Smith that were very, very good. When they went to college, they didn't do so well. And I think the reason is the coaching. And when I got to college, Coach Shirley Majors, Johnny Majors' father, was my coach. And that was entirely different. They taught us how to hurt people. As a offensive end, one of them I'd slip by the tackle, hook my arm around his leg below the knee, and my tackle would hit him over the top of it.
Yeah.
It'd put his knee out. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like that. It just really bothered me, and I thought, I don't have the killer instinct for this. And it went downhill from there. It was just a lot of things that you did that you could get away with. But the team at college was the best one they'd had in years. So we had nothing but really good players. So I wasn't so good. I was very fast in running, but with my ankle the way it was and everything, I just said, I'm not going to do this another year. So the second year, I didn't go back out for it. I went to the wrestling team.
Okay.
But I always loved competition, and even in high school, I made the all mid-state team at the end of the year and all that. But it was a lot of experiences, and we were sort of afraid of Coach Smith. I know we'd be standing in the hallway talking to a girl or something, and he'd come down the hall, we'd just run, split. I don't remember. I don't think he ever said anything about girls, but he just didn't want him.
You just
would think I'd be like, I don't know. I don't remember.
That's
but
funny.
There's so many stories about him that people have. I remember one. We had a blocking sled, which is maybe 7 pads lined up in a row on a sled. And when he said hike or whatever he'd say, you would block that sled, and we would knock that sled all over the field. And it would rear up, and when it hit it.
Sure.
Coach Smith got on the sled one time, and he had a pocket full of cigars, and he had one in his mouth, and he was giving us directions when to go, and he said something that sounded like hike, and we hit it. He wasn't ready. Flipped him right over the thing. He went right over our heads onto the ground, and I thought, oh, what's he going to say? And he gets up here, and that's what I want.
Oh, my goodness. He's like, yeah, now you got it.
Oh,
That's
man.
hysterical.
I thought he fixed to do something. But
That's funny.
you'd go in at halftime, and you'd think most coaches have got, lambasting all that. He didn't say hardly anything. He would talk to you maybe a little bit, but it wasn't, he wasn't a big talker. But he was more like, well, I don't know, you're doing pretty poor out there, and type thing. I think if you can't do any better than this, Jones, you need to stay in the house, and something like that, Well, it wasn't a condemnation type thing. It sounds like that, but it wasn't. It was just he just reverse psychology on you, where you didn't feel minimized. You just felt like, I made a mistake and I'm going to correct it type thing. And he had some tremendous players play for him down through the ages, because he started, I think, in the 20s. I think he quit in 1972. And I graduated in 62. So I was right in the middle of what he was doing. But funny thing, he coached so many people that he would call you by somebody else's name. If you looked like somebody he had 20 years ago, then you learned what your name was.
Oh, how fun.
It wasn't Jones. It was something, I don't remember what he called me. It was something else. Everybody had a different name. So we learned to respond to those names and just go on and act like nothing different. But anybody new coming on, they said, who's he talking about? And we'd have to tell about the guy that was here 20 years ago that was so good or did something, And so, coach, I've just never seen a coach like him. He was, and I've seen a lot of them, but I know my college coach came to me. He says, "Tell me how Coach Smith did what he did. He's probably one of the most famous high school coaches." I said, "Well, Coach Majors, he's not like you." I said, there was no condemnation. There was no, trying to hurt somebody or anything. It made him mad when I said that. And I said, it's just different. I don't know what to tell you, but it's just different.
Was he a Christian?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So, I mean, that's part of it.
He
right
taught
there.
that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he was a believer and a man of God,
Right.
that right there is, and it seems like during that era, most were.
Right.
And proud to claim it, but that's something that's that definitely changes.
When I went to college, that was a
perception.
church school, University South of Episcopalian.
Okay.
But that's where that name stopped.
Yeah.
The coaches were not. The coaches were just downright mean. I remember one was an Indian. He was rough. I remember there was a guy from McKenzie, and he since died. He was a good friend of mine. He was an end like I was. And we were doing some kind of drills, and this coach came up to him and hit him with a forearm, knocked him completely out. And it's up on a mountain where we were, so the air was a little thinner.
Yeah.
And he was knocked out cold.
What?
And I thought, well, I'll get down and help him. They rolled him over into the weeds and went on down the field. And I thought, I don't want to be here.
No.
I don't want this. I'm just,
That's
but I
awful.
made myself last a year. I wanted to go that year so I wouldn't be a quitter. He'd call people quitters if they didn't.
Sure.
And one guy, I remember, went in.
Yeah.
And he went in and talked him into coming back out. And when he did, I'd like to kill him. He just did all kinds of things to him. And I thought, I don't want to be a quitter. If I did, I wouldn't come back out. But it was just a different atmosphere. And I went at the Vanderbilt. I was recruited by Vanderbilt in Tennessee. And I went to Vanderbilt gymnasium over there. Went to their dinner they had and ate with the players. I went to UT and did the same thing. And I knew right then something was different. It was not like I thought. I was just a kid. I didn't know. I just thought it's all the same. And it's nothing like Coach Smith. Nothing.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
His son W.B. Smith played quarterback for Vanderbilt. And Coach would take me with him over to the games and paid for my ticket and everything. I guess he got free tickets, I suppose. And we'd sit up and watch W.B. play.
That is so cool. And they say that this book is in his words because somebody had recorded him. And so I think it's going to be just such a treat to read.
He had a sort of a speech impediment, not much, but he was telling us one time, he said, now, when I was a boy, I couldn't speak plainly, and said I took rocks and put them in my mouth and walked around all day with the rocks in my mouth. It made me pronounce the word clearer, but we looked at each other and said, it didn't work.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But they said he was his family were sharecroppers or something to that
down
effect.
Mississippi.
Yeah. Did he talk much about whenever he was coaching? Did he talk much about his background, or
not
was
to
it
me?
just,
No, I mean
so it was
not
all
to
just
us. I
coaching?
didn't hear anything at all.
So-
It's something I learned from other people.
So, in that time period, and let me go ahead and do a break here, and we'll come back. We're talking with Bill Jones about Coach Smith, right? And what's his first name? Boyce Smith, Coach Boyce Smith. There's a book coming out.
Boyce.
Boyce. There's a book coming out in about a month, and we'll have Danny Ashley and Nancy Arnold. Is it Nancy Arnold?
Arnold's
working on it. And so they basically have taken his words from a recorded interview, and I think it's going to be a big hit here in Robertson County from what everybody's telling me about him. So, but I do have a couple of questions about him. I want to stop though and pause, and let's talk about Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. Get out to Corbin, because if you want to make sure your garden is perfect, now is the time to start planting. When we have milder temperatures, I've said this throughout the winter, you want to get your garden ready. That's when you start turning the soil over and getting it ready, making the preparations. If you want to have cool weather vegetables, you've got to get those in the ground in February, guys. You just absolutely have to. And if you have questions and you want to talk to Amy, now is a really good time to get out there and talk to her before it gets real busy with the summer. And you can see her 10 to 4. She's there Monday through Saturday. She's there 1 to 4 on Sunday. They've got a beautiful picture of her on social media right now with the greenhouse and how it's getting and growing, and spring is coming and things are looking great. And you can walk through the greenhouse if you just need a little bit of a hint of spring and just really kind of get that refresher. You can do that. You can go in and check out the gifts that if you've got a gift that you need to get for somebody, Valentine's is coming up. Go in and check out some of the things that they have there inside the greenhouse gift store and inside the office. But you can also check out all the CBD products that I swear by for my arthritis, and it's all produced from Robertson County plants grown by her brother. If you want to know about CBD, that is your source. All the salves and the little the bug salve, the pain salve, the headache salve, they make it right there in the house. She and Miss Jane do. They're at 4920 Highway 161. Cannot say enough about the Corbins. Love them. Call them at 615-384-3185, 615-384-3185. Let them know you can reach up. Okay, Bill Jones is in the house. We're talking about Coach Boyce Smith. We teased this a little bit yesterday with Danny Ashley. He was in promoting the play, which is the 16th. Let me see if I've got 16th, 17th, and 18th and 19th. So they've got 4 dates that they're doing the play on Miss Lena and Mr. Patterson. An evening with Miss Lena and Mr. Patterson, the 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. 7 p.m. shows on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. The 19th will be a 2 p.m. matinee. And if you have students that you want to come in and see this, it's pay what you can. All the rest of us is $15 a ticket. It's going to be fabulous. The way he unpacked it, to go and listen to the show yesterday, it's going to be awesome. But we also talked a little bit about this book coming out on Coach Boyce Smith, and he said, you got to get Bill Jones in here. He played for him. So I'm curious, nowadays, if you have a coach, they teach. So did he teach a class? Was he a teacher as well? Do you remember what he taught?
He did, not when I was there, but
Okay.
he did before that, because everybody did. Now, Jimmy Suter did. He taught
Okay.
math class, but Coach Smith, I don't remember him teaching a class, but I know he did previously.
I'm always curious about what the subject would be for a coach. Usually it's physical education, something like that, you know.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Back then,
Yeah.
they used them wherever needed them.
A lot of our coaches.
One
bring
thing
us
about
some
Coach Smith,
history.
though, he went further than just football.
Yeah.
In the summertime, he realized us boys, young teenagers, didn't have jobs much. So he would create jobs.
Oh, wow.
And we dig ditches and fill them in.
Okay.
Or he
keep
hired
in
us
shape.
out. He hired us out to farmers. We'd get up hay. We'd
Okay.
do all kinds of things on the farm for different people. And then he went to the banks, mainly First National Bank with Bob Calloway there. Would give money to support us, and he would pay us. I remember I made 75 cents an hour.
Oh, wow.
And I remember digging a telephone pole hole. you dig, they had trucks with augers on, but no, we had to dig it. And so you have to dig a ditch down to the hole to get the pole to, we had to set the pole, get the pole, slide down this ditch and stand it up. We had picks and shovels. That's what we had. And I thought, why are we doing this? But then I realized, he was creating jobs for us. And he got the money from the banks to pay us. And then he'd call the farmers, and he just, and people all over town, businessmen, gave him money to take care of the boys. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was so unusual. He didn't have to do that. Mm-hmm. We didn't have track. We didn't have tennis. We had football and basketball and baseball.
Yeah.
But he was also a basketball coach, too, so he was.
Okay.
He did a lot of different subject. He didn't do all that all the time, but he was a basketball coach when I was there. But you have many people in town that played for him. Gene Beck, Gene. Gene, very much of a fan of his, and Gene's father played football at Vanderbilt, and I think Gene's father may have played for Coach Smith. I don't know. Danny Ashley's father was one of the highest, was a real standout player for Springfield. B. Ashley. And
in basketball?
Football.
Football.
Very well known in around 1950. Thurman Gregg is still around, who was on that team, and he can tell you a lot of stuff. Thurman has a tremendous memory. You ought to have him in here one day, because he really knows all about that. Then he could tell you things about Coach that nobody else would know.
Okay.
And there's one or two more around his age time that were there. And I can't think of their names right now, but Coach Smith, it's no telling the influence he had on boys. I know boys, there's some boys I can think of that probably would have been in trouble if it wasn't for him, Coach Smith, and keeping us busy in the.
That's fine. You're fine. Well, and as I told Danny yesterday, I'm a boy mama. I've got 4 boys, and so I'm always interested in something that I think would have a positive influence on young men.
Well,
and
he
so,
was.
Yeah. So this seems like one of those books that maybe I need to have in my classroom when I need.
Well, I haven't.
Give the kids something to do.
Given all the stories I had to Nancy, and she's collecting others. I'm real excited about reading this book when it comes out.
Yeah, because it'll be out in about a month.
Nancy's really good at this stuff, so I expect something excellent to happen with that book. But
and we'll get Nancy in here. But we had the adverse weather forecast this morning, so I've got Thomas Turnage is actually an author as well, and he's in the Epiphany Praise and Worship Band, and so a good friend of mine, and. We've had him in before for a book he's written. He's written a story that's sort of like an Aesop fable. And so we've moved him to next Tuesday because
you've got some exciting students. One of them has contacted me about doing a documentary.
Now Thomas is he's an adult. He's not a student.
Okay. I thought it was one.
No. Thomas is an adult. He's in the praise band at Epiphany. That's how I know him.
Okay.
Because I work with Epiphany for their Celebrate Recovery and go there on Tuesday nights, and then I run the one at Madison, but that's neither here nor there. But that's how I know Thomas. And so he's coming in next Tuesday morning. We'll talk about his book. But yes, the young man, you're talking about Alex Maddox that's doing a documentary. He's very interested in film. He's one of my audio video students, and we're having a lot of fun.
Another thing Danny mentioned the other morning was how many people around here that are into history and has gotten it. And he included my name in there. I didn't expect that, but there's so many people that have some really good information about history of Robeson County and Springfield, more than I think than the usual town. But it's interesting to look back at Springfield and see how it's changed. And it's changing now. I just don't realize it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, I was thinking the other day, and I was working on an article I write, and I'm thinking, what we're, not me, but maybe you and some other younger people are going to think in the future, like, you remember gas stations? Because there's not going to be any. I don't guess with electric cars coming out.
I don't know.
But the gas stations now, they're not putting in charging units because it's so expensive. They can't make any money at it.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting to see how that works out. They're selling candy bars and stuff, to make up for the gas prices. But this is something that's going to change, the gas stations. And other things will change. But it's interesting to sit here and think what I think is going to happen 50 years from now. I will look back at things. And I think now, I wish I had paid more attention to XYZ there, because now it's gone, or wish I'd looked at that closer or talked to somebody, and I didn't. And very regretful when people die now that I wish I had talked to.
Oh, yeah. My father was an amazing historian, and he died very untimely, and we always kept saying we needed to get his information, and we didn't.
Yeah.
And it's lost. And so, and we've got bits and pieces of it, we've got some things in his handwriting, which is very hard to read, so there's that, but, and we have the stories he told, but it's always fascinating.
What happens to me, my children and cousins all know I do extensive family information, and they'll start calling me now and said, I do so-and-so. Is that like anybody back in?
Yeah.
I'm not sleeping well. Is that like anything? I said, oh, yeah, all of us.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? Yeah.
It just, it's interesting, and it's, I'm glad to tell it because it helps. I think back at things that I do, and I think back, where did I get that from?
Yeah.
You think about that, where your traits came from.
Oh, yeah.
And used to, I couldn't tell you my grandparents' name. Used to, back 30 years ago, I didn't know, didn't care.
Yeah.
But now it never ends. You keep going back and back, and you put your DNA out there, and I have people contacting me every month that they're kin, a fourth and fifth cousin,
Sure.
They want to know this, that, and the other. And sometimes they stop right there, sometimes they ask more. But it's interesting to do.
Yeah, it is. It's fascinating. We love the history. I've got Mandy coming in, so we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah,
it's at the bottom of the hour here.
Anyway,
but
when the book comes out, you need to get it. I don't know what's in it, but I know it's got to be really, really good, because we've never had anybody like Coach Smith and never will again, I don't think.
And it'll be available at the museum, of course, and we'll have Nancy and Danny in absolutely when it comes out. And it's one I think I'm going to want in my classroom. I'm trying to put together a little library in my classroom.
My big deal in history is, why did they do what they did? Coach Smith is an interesting subject.
Absolutely.
Why did he do how he did it? How did he do it? Why did he do it?
I'm looking forward to reading it. That's going to be awesome. Well, thank you, Bill.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you getting out on a messy
get the ice
morning.
off my car.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, thank you, Bill Jones. Always a delight to talk with and filling us in on this book coming out on Coach Boy Smith. And as we're kind of transitioning, I've got Mandy coming in here. I want to remind you again, there is a play coming up. It's called An Evening with Miss Lena and Mr. Patterson. And Miss Lena is the one that Bransford High School was named after, and their name is, of course, the Bransford Community Center for her. And this is going to happen on the 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th at the Innovation Academy, which is of course, the middle school, high school old theater over there that's on 5th Avenue. Or Highway 49, you know where we're talking. It's where we have all the Robertson County player stuff. But they'll have 7 p.m. shows on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, and then on the 19th, they'll have a 2 p.m. matinee. So get ready for that. The tickets are $15. You can get them at Eventbrite, I believe he said. And then also, too, for students, you just pay what you can. Pay what you can, and you can go to the theater. Come on in and sit down. I'm going to go ahead and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team, my friends in real estate up in Cross Plains. They'll be there for the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival, which is coming up the third weekend in May. Cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun to get back out there. That's where I met those guys. And that is where you can sit around the table with them and talk about real estate if you want to wait that long. But, you call them and they'll come out and see you, and they'll sit around the table and talk to you about maybe you're buying and you don't know how to get pre-qualified. You don't know how much house you can buy. What's the deal with the interest rates? What's it going to mean to my bottom line? Or maybe you've got property to sell and maybe you've tried to sell it and it just didn't get much exposure because the people who presented it just didn't really know how to present it. They didn't know how to take the pictures and do the video and all the things that Barry knows how to do because he was a marketer for 17 years, a vice president of a media marketing company. He's an expert at that. He's going to make sure it's out there and it's in the best light possible. Rebecca came out of a radiology career many years ago, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. And they understand all sides of real estate. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. Call them 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy robertsoncounty.com. Tell them U-Turn sent you. Miss Mandy Christenson is in the house.
Hello.
Ran into her at the UPS store the other day. And I said, we got to get you in here and just get an update on all things going on with the White House Chamber of Commerce.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for coming out here during this nasty weather.
Right.
And look at what you have. You have a Cumberland Connect.
I have a Cumberland Connect.
Well,
this
because
is my favorite water bottle in the world. So
I'm getting ready to do their ad because they're a full-time sponsor now.
wonderful.
As I have Cumberland Connect. I'm so excited.
It's so close to my house, but not quite there.
Oh, I'm so excited about Cumberland Connect.
Yes.
Are you going to be able to get it? Are
Yes.
you a Cumberland Electric customer?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yay.
Yeah. So once they make that crossover, they got
Awesome.
about a mile from our house, and that was the end of one line, and then they went to the next place. But that's okay. We're patiently waiting.
Oh, listen, they got mine on. I'm 2 weeks in now. It's awesome.
Is it wonderful?
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
One of the girls at work got it about 3 months ago, I guess,
Yeah,
and
it's
she
just
just
awesome.
can't stop talking about how great it is.
I'm so excited. But anyway, we'll do the ad in a minute.
Yes.
So what have you got going on?
Well, we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline.
Gotcha.
Right now is a little bit slower time for us. Usually we try to keep January a little lower key so that we can prep ourselves for everything that's coming up. But the big thing that we have right around the corner is our Community Awards Luncheon.
Okay.
And so we'll be giving a Citizen of the Year, a Junior Citizen of the Year, a Horizon Award, which is our Business of the Year, and our Impact Award, which is a Nonprofit of the Year. So that's February 28th.
Oh, that's coming up.
It's coming
Yeah.
right up. Yeah,
Yeah.
the nominations are still open
Okay.
to nominate people and businesses through February 7th, I believe. So we try to give everybody an opportunity because there's so many people out there doing things. And, a lot of times the ones that are doing good are the ones that don't really let you know about it sometimes.
Yeah.
So we have to search those folks out and ask the community to help us out and make nominations for us. And then our committee will come together and make those selections.
That's wonderful. And so those are now, is it just the businesses are still open for nominations or for all of the positions?
All of the positions.
So tell
yes.
everybody again, if you know in what areas do they have to live in White House?
They don't have to live in the
Okay.
White House. It has to impact the White House area.
Has to impact the White House area,
yes.
and you're looking for
We're looking for a Citizen of the Year.
Okay.
And that's somebody who, makes an impact in several different areas. Maybe they volunteer at school and they do a lot at their church, or they have a nonprofit that they're passionate about,
Okay.
in addition to, a lot of other great things in their job or their career. We also have a Junior Citizen of the Year.
I love
which
that.
That's relatively new. I think we've had it for about 5 years.
I love that.
And this kind of the same qualifications, but just in a young person.
what are the age requirements on the
It's
junior?
Any age up through 18.
Through 18.
So anybody in
somebody
school,
that's not an
yeah.
official adult.
The very first one that we gave away was to a fourth grader who
Aw.
had started a shoe collection for a mission in Haiti. And so that was, really inspiring to see the work that she had done.
That's cool.
And then another one was, I think, a 6th or 7th grader. So we've had some really young students. We haven't really... I don't think we've ever had a high school student. I think they've all been elementary or middle school age kids. So.
That's cool. Okay. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's fun, and it's really fun to read, the nominations that come in for those, because it's like, wow, these kids are doing things, that most adults aren't doing or aren't thinking about doing.
Yeah.
And so that's inspiring for sure. And then we also have a business of the year. And that's looks at what they do for the community, but also how they treat their employees and opportunities that they offer there. So, we're looking for something that's really well-rounded.
Right.
And then the same thing for nonprofit of the year.
Okay. And that's the Horizon one you said.
Horizon is business and Impact is nonprofit.
Okay. Well, that is so cool. And so is this going to be a day luncheon or an evening thing?
It is. It's a luncheon, and it's in the middle of the day, February 28th.
Okay.
And so we try to, I tell people they need to pray for me because I do a lot of manipulating and falsehoods, trying to get folks there because we want to make it a surprise that they won, but then also we want to make sure that their family and friends are included. So there's a lot of scheming behind the scenes to make sure everybody shows up. And, I think by the time they get there, people are starting to wonder just a little bit. But, we have to come up with some pretty interesting tales to convince them that this is why you need to take off work and come here. Or, so. But it's a lot of fun.
That's funny. It's like planning a surprise party every year for somebody.
Right, yes.
Yeah, for 4 people.
Exactly.
For 4 people.
Yes, yeah.
At least with the children, you can get their parents involved,
Right.
and, it can be a covert thing. And then
Right.
I think that's so cute. My little grandson got surprised with, they have the bikes that they give out with the
Yes.
Rotarians. He was one of those kids.
That's
And he was
fantastic.
just like, it was almost I think it almost embarrassed
Probably,
him.
yeah.
Because he's 6.
Yes.
And they said, we couldn't be there because it was school day, and but they said he was just like real quiet, like what?
Yes,
But it
yeah.
was so cute, and
absolutely.
it's so sweet to surprise those little ones.
It is. Well,
Yeah.
it was, and usually the administrators at the school they get
Yeah.
on board too, and the teacher that nominated them and things like that.
How
so
neat.
that's a lot of fun for
It
sure.
is. It is so sweet and so much fun. We're talking with Mandy Christenson and about all things the White House Chamber. She pops in here. We try to hit once a quarter, I think.
At least, yeah.
You
We
know,
always say we'll do more, but then time just goes so quickly.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it is just, and they say the older you get, the faster it goes. Oh, my goodness.
I believe it.
Woo, hitting 60 this year and watching my students and going, in 20 years they'll be 35 and I'll be 80.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's fine. But it is. It just kind of puts it in perspective
It
because
does.
I remember very clearly being in high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah.
what it was like, and so it's just perspective really changes the older you get.
It does, for
it's
sure.
all good. It's all good. A lot of fun. But so you've got that coming up. So what's next? Do you have anything Valentine-y going on?
Well, actually, we do. And
Okay.
that starts tomorrow. It's the social media campaign that we
Okay.
do, and it's called Love and Local. And what we do is we send out an email to our members and offer them the opportunity for some extra marketing.
Okay.
And they provide us with a door prize, and then we do some marketing for their business. And every day, people will have the chance to win a prize. And so it looks like we'll probably have 2 prizes a day, starting February 1st through February 14th. So follow our Facebook on social media
Okay.
and Instagram. We'll start posting about those businesses. We'll do a sneak peek today about that, but we've got several great places signed up to participate in that. So we'll be giving away some fun prizes, and it's a way to encourage people to keep their money local and in the community instead of buying online or going outside of the community to shop, and then also highlight some of the great businesses that we have in our area.
Oh, that's cool. So basically, if we go to the White House Chamber page and we just watch for the post,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
it'll give us instructions on how to qualify for the
That's
prizes of the day.
Yeah, and it's super
Okay.
simple. It'll
Okay.
either be share it to your page or comment. A lot of times we'll ask a question, what
Sure.
if you were going to get jewelry from White House Gold and Diamond Outlet, would you prefer diamonds or emeralds? Something like
Sure.
that. So, but then we'll spotlight that business too. And so
Mm-hmm.
you comment. I think that one of the girls at the office is working on it. I think that if you comment, it's an entry, and if you share, it's an entry. So you get a couple of chances to win, and then we give the prize away. So let's see, tomorrow's February 1st. We'll
Right.
have the first posts that you can share and comment on, and then on February 2nd, we'll give away the prizes that we spotlighted on February 1st, and we'll do that through the
Oh,
15th.
cool. Oh, good. I'm so glad you came in today because that's cool.
It's a fun
That's
thing.
a fun
it's so
thing
simple.
to do. Yeah.
And especially for our small businesses, their social media and their Google reviews and things like that are so important to them. And we nerd out at the chamber when we get a good review, or if we make a milestone. If we hit 9,000 or 10,000
Sure.
on the likes.
Oh, it's a big deal.
It's so exciting, and so it's something that's really easy to do because it's not costing you anything to support them in that way, or talk about a good experience that you had there, or what your favorite thing to eat at Deja Mu is. It's a really simple way to support those businesses and give those small business owners, especially right now, a little boost, because after the holidays, everybody usually sees a little bit of a dip, and people are doing taxes, and everybody gets a little, tighter with their finances for a few weeks or a few months, and then usually it kind of goes back to normal. But those small businesses, they've still got to pay the bills and pay the employees, and so a little extra incentive and encouragement is always nice.
Awesome. I love it. Y'all have a lot of stuff going on. So as in a minute, we'll be into spring. So we've got in February is one of those things too. I was talking to somebody the other day about putting things on the February calendar. Well, maybe it was you that we were talking about how that you have to keep in mind that you might have to adjust because of the weather.
Right.
And so you just step out on faith whenever you put something on the calendar. But then as you start getting into March, that's when things start popping up. So will y'all do a big Easter? Of course, that's on into April. Do you have anything in March?
In March, so our fiscal year begins April 1st. So we're April 1st through March 31st. So the end of March is always our chairman's celebration, where we recognize our outgoing chairman. We induct the incoming chairman, the new board members that are the advisors for the chamber. And so that is March 30th. And we do that actually in Portland. At the barn at Spring Lake Farm. It's a beautiful event center, and they partner with us and allow us to use that space. And this year's theme is Monte Carlo Nights. So it will be a casino-themed party.
Fun.
And it really is a big party to celebrate the accomplishments of those board of directors, that chairman, what we've done at the chamber. And we have just a smidge of programming so that, it's an official meeting, but we do that probably 15 or 20 minutes inducting those new board members, and then it's just a social gathering where they get to enjoy each other's company. We have a centerpiece auction, which is a fundraiser for the chamber to help us with our mission, and our businesses and some local community members will donate centerpieces, which is a little bit of a misnomer because some of the centerpieces are, last year we had a trip to Vegas, and we had tickets to the Ryman or to the Preds game. So they have some very interesting centerpieces, and they're very creative with that. But Ed Cope comes in and auctions those off for us. And if you've ever been to an auction where Ed Cope is the auctioneer, he's fun, and he usually encourages people to open their pocketbooks a little bit wider. So we do that too, and it's just a great night for us, and we have a lot of fun.
Can you send me Ed's number, because I need to get in touch with him. I want him to come talk to my communications classes.
Oh yeah, he'd be great.
He tells a story about how that he got over his fear of speaking by going to auctioneer school.
Yeah.
And I don't have his direct. I've got to get something scheduled with him.
I will do it.
And I've lost the contact. If I was trying to go back and find where I got him in on the show.
Yeah.
And I need to talk to Ed, y'all. So reach out or send me his number.
I've got it.
So now that you mentioned it, because he was so much fun
Yes.
on the radio.
Oh yeah.
He was just
he's
a
amazing.
blast.
Yes.
So if somebody wants to come to, because I mean, if somebody's like, man, I just want a night out and that sounds like fun, is it an open?
It is.
Is it
It's
an open invitation?
Yeah, it's open to the community.
Okay.
They do pay a slightly higher price than if they're
Sure.
a member, but it's open to the community. We'll have hors d'oeuvres and some adult beverages also available. But it's funny money, so you're not gambling with your own money.
Of course.
You walk in and I think we give you $20,000 or $40,000, to start the night off, so you can go have a lot of fun. We'll have blackjack and roulette and Texas Hold'em and craps. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not a gambler, so I don't.
I'm not either, and I think
the spinny wheel and
that would be the only way I would gamble,
Right.
because I just don't. But I think that would be fun. It's
Yeah.
just like playing a big board game that you're like walking around in.
Right.
And
That's
you
what
get
it
to dress
is.
up really fun.
Yes, yeah. So it's the Monte Carlo Nights is just you can dress fancy.
Yeah,
if you want
just
to.
as
But you
wild
don't
as
have
you want
either.
to, or
Exactly.
not at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I've seen some that they've done here locally, because I know that the chamber here has done some things similar, and
they
some of
have.
the outfits are hysterical.
Oh, yeah.
They're so cute, and
It's
I
a
mean
lot of
just
fun.
sassy and fun, and I mean it sounds like a wonderful night.
It is. It's a lot of fun. We'll have a couple photo booths and different things for people to do. So even if you don't want to gamble, you can come and visit and have a lot of fun.
See, I love events like that, because especially now that I'm a grandma and I don't have any kids at home and I just want to get out. Sometimes you just like to get dressed up and go out and see people, especially since I've been doing this show. I've made so many connections and so many dear friends that you have to be very intentional about seeing them.
Sure.
Because in going to those kinds of events, you get to see people.
Yeah,
Open Door Pregnancy, by the way, their event's coming up, and I don't have the date in front of me, but that's another one coming up that we'll talk about later. I'm sorry, I digress.
No. They're a great organization.
Yes, they are. And but there's so many things going on. But I love what y'all do up at the White House Chamber. Great stuff happening. So do you have something else you want to plug after that? Or I can go ahead and do an ad, or if you want to
Do an
reset.
ad.
Let's
Go ahead
do
and do
that.
an ad. And I've got another thing I want to tell you about.
Okay, sounds good. Talking to Mandy Christenson, and she is the president of the White House Chamber of Commerce. And so now I need to talk to you, though, about what's going on with Cumberland Connect. I love that you came in here with your water bottle, and you're not even a Cumberland Connect customer yet.
Not yet.
But you're anticipating it. And I'm trying to find my bling here. They gave me this... I don't know what I did with it. There was a jar opener thing that they gave me, and they have pizza cutters and apparently water bottles. Where's
yes.
my water bottle? I need a water bottle.
She does.
I'll have to talk to Caitlin. And but the bottom line is, if you are a Cumberland Electric customer, you're going to have access to this amazing internet service, Cumberland Connect. I was so excited when they showed up at my door, because I had heard once they on the utility pole, you have to wait for them to come and put it on the house. They showed up on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I went out and hugged his neck. I was like, I'm so glad you're here. And once they leave and they've got it on your house, then you have to set up an appointment for them to come in the house. They had just driven out of my driveway, and I called and I said, okay, it's on my house. Well, we don't have the paperwork yet, because the guy hadn't even turned it in. So, but they were there 2 days later.
Wow.
To do the install, and it's just as wonderful as everybody says. I went from a 3.5 upload speed to 500 and 600. I mean, it's insane. I got a gig, though. And my kids go, Mother, you don't need a gig. I'm like, I know, but I want it.
But I have it.
I have it. $80 got me a gig. I was paying $65
Right.
for what I had with AT&T. And no offense, AT&T, I went into UPS. I think the day I was in there, I was returning my equipment when I saw
Oh,
you.
okay.
And I said, do you know how to return this AT&T equipment? He goes, I've only done it a few hundred times. And these are the new owners.
Yes.
And so he goes, with Cumberland Connect coming in, he goes, yeah, people are rethinking that. And a lot of things change. And so a lot of things are having to rethink. I've cut Dish Network, and I'm seeing what I think about YouTube TV and all the streaming. So it's just a different time. And you need to have good internet to be able to navigate those waters. And maybe you're somebody that's financially, you say, well, I can't even afford the base package. Well, there's an affordable connectivity program now providing qualifying households with a monthly credit to help pay for internet services. And if you're eligible, you may receive a credit of up to $30 per month toward broadband services. If you want to find out if you qualify, just go online and check it out. You can go to www.cumberlandconnect.org and go from there, and you can get more information, or you can call them at 1-800-987-2362. I cannot say enough about how thrilled I am that I'm a Cumberland Connect customer and that they are a full-time sponsor here at One Street Over. So when you call them, say thank you and tell them U-Turn sent you. Mandy Christenson's here. What else we going to talk about?
Well, so I'm going to continue the Cumberland Connect commercial just a little bit.
Okay, good.
They do community meetings in different communities to introduce people to the streaming platforms that are available. So once you have Cumberland Connect, the accessibility you have for different streaming platforms, they are actually going to be at our office. I believe it's Monday. We're going to have to verify that.
Right.
But they come in, they bring a couple people in, so you can come in. My parents took advantage of it. We see, they've been, I think, twice to our office. They use our meeting space so that they can meet with community members. They bring a TV in, and they give you examples of the different services that are available, what you might be interested, because you know, especially some of our senior citizens might not be familiar with all the different platforms that are out there and the bundled services and the combinations and things like that. So they'll really work with their customers, you know, over and above getting that internet there, but making sure that they're happy and using it to the best of you know, what's suited to them.
Right.
So that's a really good thing that they offer. So if anybody needs that service, for sure check it out. And I know they're doing it in other communities besides White House, but I do believe I do believe I saw on the calendar that Monday they've got our space reserved for that purpose.
Okay, and that's one of the things we've talked about in the ad is they do have workshops, and that would be one of them.
Yes.
And that gets you. I know my friend Muriel Barnett, her parents have got Cumberland Connect, and she was talking about all they're doing, and I was like, really, they're older and they understand all that? Yeah. Apparently, I was trying to teach my husband how to stream and cast and all that, and I'm walking him through it, and he knows how on some things, but when anything new, I have to kind of walk him through stuff. I'm sorry, honey, you know it's true, but I have to. I have
that's
to have
why
somebody.
you're the technology teacher, though.
But I have to have somebody walk me through it too.
Yeah.
I keep saying I'm smart enough to know what I don't know, and I ask questions. And this workshop is a great way to find out what you don't know.
It really is,
and to get acclimated to it.
It really
so
is.
Very good.
Yes.
Awesome.
And so also Cumberland Connect is a great partner for the Chamber, and they have partnered with us to introduce a new local gift card, and that is a MasterCard gift card. It's a digital gift card that people can purchase online, and it is good at multiple places in the White House area. Even the UPS store here in Springfield is one of our partners with that. And so for several years, we looked at different ways to do a Chamber Bucks or a Chamber gift card program so that we could ensure that local money was staying in the community locally. You know, if you give somebody $50, they can go spend it anywhere. Or if you buy them a $50 Visa gift card, they can go spend it anywhere. But if you buy one of our Support Local gift cards, it's a MasterCard e-gift card. So it spends just like a credit card would or a regular gift card would, but you can only use it at certain merchants that have opted into the program. Right now we have about 45 different merchants that are participating in it. So it's kind of like when somebody gives you one of the gift cards that's got Olive Garden and Red Lobster, and you know, it's that same concept. You can use it anywhere, and it's very simple to do. There is an activation charge that the purchaser pays, not the business or the recipient, just like when you activate a Visa gift card when you purchase it at Kroger's. So we're really excited about that program. We launched it back in October. We've sold almost $12,000 worth of gift cards for the White House community, and they're being redeemed daily. So we're very fortunate that Cumberland Connect helped us, you know, with the marketing and the presentation of that program. And we're really hoping that by Valentine's Day we can get up to 50 participating merchants. So we like those round numbers.
Oh, sure.
Yes. So we're excited about that program, and it's really exciting for me to see too, because that's always been one of my goals ever since I started at the Chamber, is to have a program like that for our members. And we researched a lot of different options, and you know, ideally it would probably be better if we had a card that we could swipe, but when you're talking about multiple merchants and their different point of purchase systems and things like that, it just wasn't feasible. And so when we discovered this program, they've been in business about 12 years, the company that facilitates it, so they've got great results. And you know, they came and they talked to us, and they're like, it's so simple, and you know, it was almost too good to be true. But so far, you know, knock on wood, it's gone really well, and we get to see the reports every day where people are spending money. And some of the businesses that have opted in, one of our Best Sleep Ever is our mattress store in White House, and he said, you know, I don't know if people use a gift card at a mattress store, but I'll opt in, because when they opt in, they're on our website, they get promoted a few times, so it's extra exposure for the business, even if they doesn't get used there. But he was like, I think the third recipient that received a gift card use, and somebody spent $100 at a store with one of those gift cards. So that's like my success story right there. It made me really happy.
Yeah, because he was not expecting it.
Right,
I love it. That's great.
And he's since had several redeemed there. So we get to see every day. We get the transaction report and see, you know, somebody spent $50 at Meat Sweats and $10 at White House Nutrition and $12 $10 at Colorado Grill. And so it's really nice to
What
see
a
that.
great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
What a great idea. I love that. I love that. That is very cool. And so if they want to know more, how do they contact you?
So they can go to our website, whitehousechamber.org, and in the top right corner there is a local gift card. They just click on that and it'll take them to that page.
Okay.
You can purchase it in increments from $5 to $250. You can email it to your recipient, text it to them. You can print it and put it in a card. Whatever works best for you. So it's we did see a lot of December 22nd, 23rd, 24th purchases.
I bet.
But it's a great Valentine's option.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a great teacher gift too, because as some of my teacher friends remind me, they don't want another mug or another candle, but a gift card is always welcome. So that's a good thing too. And then you can decide, if you want to do $15 or $10, and then they're able to go spend it at their favorite places in the community.
I think that's so cool, because so oftentimes you get, it's another Olive Garden card.
Yes.
And you forget to use them because you've just done it so much, or there's another Cracker Barrel card. And this is a way, because I like the gift cards because you can go and get exactly what you want, and I love that it exposes the local stores.
Yes.
That's just so cool. I love that idea.
We
very
really
good.
like the marketing aspect of it for our participants too,
great
because
program.
when you go to the page, there's a Google map and it drops a pin at their location, so they can click on that. They can go to their website. There's a printable list that has all of the businesses listed on it. So it's a lot of extra exposure for the merchants, even if they're not getting a ton of redemptions. But it's a work in progress. And like I said, we launched it in October, and we're so far very pleased with the results.
Very cool. That's neat. Just go and check them out at whitehousechamber.org.
Yes, ma'am.
whitehousechamber.org. And don't forget to, we're just right here at the end. Tomorrow, you need to get on their Facebook page, because they're going to have the
Love and Local.
Love and Local, and you can win prizes.
Yes,
And
lots
they'll tell
of great prizes.
Lots of great prizes. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes.
So, anything else as we're parting ways here?
Well, we have a golf tournament coming up in
go,
April.
go, go.
It's April 27th, I believe. It's the last Thursday in April. It's right here at the Legacy, so it's close. So if there's any local teams that want to participate, I think we've got that live and ready to go. If not, we'll get it live really quickly.
Okay.
And if anybody's interested in coming to Monte Carlo Nights, the casino night, the tickets are for sale for that. We got that live last week, so that's ready to go. They can go to our website and go to our community calendar and check things out. And also, everybody's welcome to join us at that awards luncheon as well, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, but Cumberland Connect is also partnering with us to present that awards luncheon. So
I love it. I love Cumberland Connect. You guys rock.
Y'all
do. Awesome. We just love y'all. But thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank
you.
you.
You're always welcome. Just reach out to me and let me know. Don't forget to give me Ed's number.
I will give it to you before I leave.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us on what ended up not being too slick of a day, but the kids got the day off, and that means teachers are off too, so I'm going to enjoy it. Actually, I'm going to go home and get some schoolwork done, because I have the internet now to allow me to do that. And so thank you for joining us. Tomorrow is our Veterans Day. We will have Terry Wilson or maybe Gwen Hart. I'm not sure which one's coming in, but we'll be talking about veterans the first Wednesday of the month. Oh, can't believe it. Have a great day. God bless. This is 1100 WSGI.